Welcome to Follow Your Joy podcast, where intuition is the doorway to your wisdom, your genius, and your joy. I'm your host, Marla Diane, and I've been transforming creative entrepreneurs' lives for over 26 years through two businesses as a success coach and business strategist, and prior to that, an entertainment publicist and talent manager. It's time to make joy your inner GPS for life and business decisions rather than lean on your logic and your reason first. You'll not only be following what is most authentic to you and for you, but you will live the beautiful life meant just for you. You'll come to learn that following your joy is a life and a business strategy. So listen in for inspiring entrepreneurial stories and solo casts that illuminate listening to your intuition is certainly the doorway to your wisdom, your genius, and your joy. Not sure how to access, use, or trust your intuition? Join me in the conversation to find out how. Welcome. It's the inaugural episode of my long-awaited podcast, Follow Your Joy, and I cannot tell you how relieved, liberated, and happy I am to serve you in this way. As a creative and a writer and a journalist and a humanitarian and a coach and mentor to creatives, you know when you finally give birth to a long-held idea and put feet on it and get moving, it's incredibly liberating and transformational, right? So excited. So welcome to Follow Your Joy podcast, where intuition is the doorway to your wisdom, your genius, and your joy. Following my joy and intuition has been my guiding light throughout my entire adult life. It's been a pattern that I did not recognize until 2 years ago. So think about this. If you're not following your joy, tuning into what lights you up, then what are you following as a default, right? Joy is the metric that will lead you to a fulfilling life, not just success, but a heart-filled, integrity-driven life that is based on what brings you joy rather than tolerate what you think you should be doing. Do you relate? And on a special note, this inaugural episode is a tribute to my sweet, forever loved, spunky companion of 17 years, Mojo, my Karen Terrier mix, who's been my soulmate on many, many levels, and he brought me so much joy every day. The amount of joy is really immeasurable. I will miss him deeply. His fun, feisty, outgoing personality that kept me in my heart every day and every time I was with him. He loved his twice daily walks and had his signature walk. And it was really cute in his little 10-pound body. He pranced, right? His little signature walk is he pranced, and his cute little fluffy tail would wag back and forth in rhythm to the prancing. It was really cute. And he smiled as he walked. Everyone responded, to this vibe of his as they walked by him. He was so special and loved being with people and other dogs. Really special spirit. 17 years is a long time. So at the time of this recording, I have been planning his private ceremony and departure with an in-home compassionate service. He began losing his eyesight last August and his hearing a year prior. So by this month in May, he had pretty much lost all his mojo and his spunk, and he could barely see. It was just heartbreaking. He whined a lot, right, out of disorientation, and really his quality of life has been really no longer. And it was so hard, such a hard decision, but a kind, respectful one, right, to let him go. So in honor of his dignity, I am making that difficult decision. So by the end of the month, here in May, he'll be passing over to Rainbow Bridge to regain his freedom, his spirit, and his joy. And yes, probably the last several days, I've definitely been crying all around this decision And if you own a pet, I am sure you know how hard it is, how precious our furry family members are. So join me in celebrating a wonderful life I had with Mojo. Let's move into the premise of following your joy, and it's predicated on this. Joy is not to be relegated to just a good feeling. It's a beautifully proven life and business strategy, as you're going to learn today in future episodes. So it goes like this. When we follow our joy and stay tuned into it, we will live a more authentic life that's meant for us. Because the key is your intuition. It will tell you to keep doing whatever brings you the most joy. Don't ignore it, right? Don't judge it. Pay close attention and heed the call. Make it a new normal for you. And I'll be sharing with you in just a few minutes how to do that. But let's get into a little bit of a backstory as to who I am and why now. I am celebrating 26 years as a creative entrepreneur of two businesses. Since 2008, I've been transforming creative entrepreneurs' lives and businesses as an international success coach, business strategist, and a transformational artist. Prior to that, I had a 22-year dynamic, fun, and very creative entertainment PR career. I was a publicist. And that also included running my own PR company where I served celebrities, visual and performing artists. God, I had a blast. I got to monetize my love of writing, journalism, and entertainment. Let me tell you, it was a ton of fun, very dynamic until about year 20 when it wasn't anymore. Okay, so join me on the journey of following your joy by subscribing to my podcast. I'd love that. We will also be diving into loads of content about your creativity, how to recalibrate your money relationship. I'm going to be doing interviews with courageous entrepreneurs and how they followed their joy and what happened along the way. You know, the messes and the victories, right? So I aspire for you to make decisions with your intuition, supported by your logic and actions. It's how to ban the burnout. There's the key there. I have a powerful, life-changing story to share around that very thing that took me from burnout to breakthrough and a month-long stay in gorgeous Florence, Italy. That'll be coming up in another episode. It's the entrepreneur stories and their interviews that I'm really excited about, besides obviously my solo cast, but really the interviews. Gosh, excited about to share this with you so that you can be inspired by their transformation and how they follow their joy. I'm grateful to be here to serve you. So thank you again for tuning in. You can find me at Instagram, Marla_Diane, Diann. Come say hello. Let's do this. Let's dive into today's topic. Following your joy is a life and business strategy. So if you're not following your joy first, what are you following? Logic, reason, intellect, right? Okay. I'm not suggesting that you don't use your logic or your reason or your intellect. Instead, I'm encouraging you to shift your life and business strategy and how you make decisions by following what brings you joy first, right? And check in with your intuition, and then allow the logic and the linear, which is also, I call the masculine of operating, to help you define the actions and the steps from your intuitive direction. You'll be living a life meant for you. Trust me on that. Because success leaves clues. That which brings you joy more often is a major clue, right? You will find you're living with much less drama, confusion, and uncertainty. And it helps eliminate a ton of stress from doing things that don't light you up. I've been there, done that. Oh, your joy comes from your highest good. We are meant to enjoy life, not struggle more often. You know, intuition is a powerful feminine art for today's modern women. Does that sound like you? So see if you relate with this. And it's a pervasive challenge for most women. No fault of anyone's. right? Because we live by an old set of rules that are centuries old, operating from our intellect and logic first instead of our intuition, right? We've got this beautiful, beautiful natural asset, and we haven't been taught how to use it. And that's why I'm excited to teach you. Intuition is your wisest and most accurate of all life tools because every guidance is meant for you rather than what society says or some old, outdated masculine rule or some advice from a well-intended family member, right? It's time that we as women support each other in strengthening and elevating our natural assets, right? Of the feminine arts, intuition for everyday guidance. And what that really means is the creativity, the play, the adventure, the fun, the pleasure, the sensuality, the expansion, vision, right? Connection, collaboration, right? That's femininity. That's feminine arts. Because the result of living in that is more joy and more money and more fulfillment with grace and ease if we're courageous enough to listen to the guidance, right? You have the answers within you. Because what happens when we disconnect from life and numb out, we miss out on those clues. Do you enjoy listening to and reading Esther Hicks? She's one of my favorites, right? Here's an excerpt from her book about desires and joy, and her book, Ask and It Is Given. Have you read it? I highly recommend it. This speaks really well to the purpose and intention, really, of my podcast and how I inspire, right? Or I should say, how I aspire to enhance your life. So here's the excerpt. Behind every desire is the desire to feel good. There's no desire that anyone holds for any reason than that they believe they will feel better in the achievement of it. Whether it is a material object, a physical state of being, a relationship, a condition, or a circumstance, at the heart of every desire is the desire to feel good. And so the standard, right, of success in life is not the things or the money. The standard of success is absolutely the amount of joy that you feel. Amen. Love that. By the way, that's on page 103 if you have the book or you're going to buy it. All right. So you're probably not sure, right, how to access, use, or trust your intuition. So I'm going to be giving you tips on how to trust your intuition, right, as your lead decision maker, and allow logic to follow with actions, right, from that guidance. But first, I think what's important is to really define what gets in the way of us listening to our intuition. Yeah. We're so conditioned to live in our heads, right, and forget we have this beautiful laser powerful tool to help us live harmoniously, right, and joyfully in a very grounded and centered way. Here's a scenario. When I am uncertain what to do and stuck in a problem in my head, trying to figure it out, right? Identifying the reason that the problem is there. And then I deep dive into dissecting the problem. I typically end up stressed, concerned, and far, far away from my intuition. You with me with that? The perceived problem is the reason our intuition is blocked. Our sweet intellect, right, that's swirling around in our head is the cause of the blockage. So it's time to shift and break the pattern. Intuition is a vibe. It's not a feeling. Feelings are in constant change, whereas intuition is grounding, it's assuring, it's certainty, it's direct, it's very static. And again, it's a vibe. It comes from your heart space, not your head. Yeah. Okay, so follow these steps to get out of the problem thinking, the intellect, to unblock your intuition and access it in order to get direction from your heart, right? Which is your intuition. Okay, so let's say You're having a challenge and you need an answer and how to solve it. So ask aloud, what does my head say? And then say aloud all the reasons you're stuck and what's the problem. Kind of like emptying, the trash, emptying the garbage. You're literally speaking aloud all the negatives about this situation. And here's a tip. If you want, have a partner that you can trust to take you through this and keep asking that question, what does your head say? When you've exhausted your list of reasons and logic about the problem, you're ready to do the next step. Okay. The next step then is place one hand on your solar plexus, that's your stomach area, and then the other hand on your heart. Take a deep cleansing breath, shift your focus to your heart while holding your hands in place. And then ask about the perceived problem and say aloud, what does my heart say? And I want you to sense the vibe. There's like a lightness, there's a grounded feeling. But listen quietly and then speak aloud what your heart says and keep asking the question, what does my heart say? You will absolutely find your answer to the situation, and you will be way more aligned with kindness, no drama, good for all, and trust and faith when you listen to your heart and not your logic. That, my dear, is heart talk. That is intuition, and that's how we get unstuck. Yeah. So when we get out of our head and into our heart, we will find the answers and the solutions that are meant for us. Because the feminine way to experience freedom is by achieving your desires without taking the fun and the pleasure out of it. Keep the pleasure principle in all you do. So in another episode, I will be explaining more detail about my creative achievement formula, which is desires plus goals equals transformation and result. It's the feminine leading the way, and the goals, which is the masculine, it's a blend of both to create the result. This is what I refer to as the blend of masculine and feminine in how you work. This is also what will help keep you out of overwhelm and burnout. So lead with focusing on your desires because they fuel the goals to get done. So for example, I'm planning to go back to Italy this September. So excited. Traveling to Italy is always a joy of mine and a desire. So I focus on achieving that desire by adding personal and business money and revenue goals. And the result is my joy of the desire that's achieved and then a transformation. Because here's the key, our desires are meant to transform us. The masculine part of this is break down your desire into digestible, actionable steps, weekly, monthly, and then into 90-day intentions. Yeah. Okay, that's it. That's my tip or tips for how to unblock your intuition, start paying attention to your heart space, to your intuition by asking that question. You're going to get a very different answer than you are from your logic. All right, so thanks for listening in. Begin writing down daily what brings you the most joy, right, at work and in your personal life, and stay focused on that. And I will see you in next episode. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye. Wasn't that an inspiring conversation? Hey, thanks for listening in. You can find more entrepreneurial stories and resources at marladiane.com. And while you're there, enjoy my 3 free downloads to up-level your business and your life. And how about you take a screenshot of this episode and tag me on Instagram by sharing your highlights of what you learned today. I'd love that. I also have for you my private Italian-inspired Facebook group, The New Renaissance Woman for Creatives and High Achievers. Just request to join and we'll let you in. Until next episode, take care.